Hi everyone, this is Love Crafty Girl. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the calendar divider for the month of May. Now I am a bit late, but I've been super busy and I'm trying to find a way to film this, and now I have the time, and now is the time for me to share with you what Lovely Planner has posted on her blog for the calendar divider for May, and it is bacon and eggs, which I think it's super cute. I really like this. I love the little faces. I think that's what really, intrigues me to see. And you know what? Every month that I have my shaker card and my paper clip in my planner, I love seeing it. I like to always see it in my planner. I feel like it's something that needs to be there. So the couple of weeks that I've been planning, I noticed that it's not there and I kind of miss it. So I'm like, I really got to get this going so that I can start using it, and I can also share with you guys what is in store for this month. So continue watching to see how I make these two things together. So I'm going to begin by cutting out the bacon. Now I'm only going to do one of the bacon on camera, and then the other one I'll cut it out off camera. Same thing with the fried egg. I'm just going to cut one on camera and the other one off camera. That way I can just move on to the next step. Now that I'm done cutting out the pictures, I'm now going to begin using my glue stick to glue them together. So I'll start off with the bacon, going all around the edges, making sure there's glue everywhere and also in the middle, and then getting the other piece and making sure that they're facing the right way on both sides, and then just quickly stick them together, which is such a nice and easy thing to do. Once I'm done with that, I will do the fried egg as well. Now the only difference with the fried egg is I was supposed to leave a bit of a gap with no glue on it, because that's where the paper clip goes between the two pictures, but I did not realize that because at this point I was distracted making sure that I had glue and that everything was looking nice and clean. I didn't realize that until later on when I need to put the paper clip that I forgot to leave a gap. Now I got my protective sheet out, and I'm going to measure my bacon, just sort of gain an idea where I want it to go, and I'm using the blue lines to sort of give me the idea, the gap between that I need for that bacon to fit in. But one thing that I like about this now is that if you noticed, I just go down in the middle with this tool very quickly, which is one swipe down and that's it. Before, if you see my other videos, I tend to get I tended to go back and forth many times in the same spot, and that's because the surface that I'm using now is different, it's new, and it's a lot easy for me to work on. So that's why this is becoming such an easier way to do this tool. So here I am fusing both sides, because you should always do both sides, never just one, because you just never know. You want to be sure that your both sides are sealed tight, but of course I still gotta do a check with my scissors, which you'll see in a few minutes. But right now I'm trying to still seal the bottom part, that way that bottom part area is also sealed shut before I start sticking my scissors and checking the corners to make sure everything is sealed right before I move on to the next step. Now that I'm done sealing the edges, I'm now going to pour in my glitter. Now, I had an idea exactly how much I wanted, but for some reason, I got a little carried away because it just, at the beginning as I poured it in, it just didn't look like it was enough. So then when I went back in for the second, a lot more came out and I was like, uh-oh, too late now, see? Anyways, it got a little overwhelming in there, but you know what? It's still pretty and I still can see the calendar, so that's all that matters. Now that that's filled in, I can now seal the top part. Now, there's a bit of glitter there, so I do have to do maybe a couple of swipes because I feel like there was a bit of of a gap that I can see, kind of. So I'll, as you can see, I always turn over the page, but I did go over a couple of times on the second time because I noticed something was wrong. But still, I'll do another checkup, making sure that it is sealed properly before I cut up that edge and then go on to the next step. So if you noticed, I was shaking the card a lot, and that was for me to make sure that nothing came out. Sometimes when you do check, sometimes you miss a spot and you think it was sealed, but it wasn't, and then you'll have all these little glitter flying around everywhere. So I shook it really hard to make sure nothing came out. Now I'm using my old calendar divider to make the markings for where I'm going to punch the holes out. Then I'm going to use my hole puncher, punch out all my little holes, and then from there I'll get my scissors to cut out the slits, and then this sugar card is ready to go into my planner. So now I'm going to make my paper clip, and I'm going to use a piece of this leftover paper protector sheet, placing the egg right somewhere in the middle between the edges. That way I have enough room to use my fuse tool around it and not have to worry about being too close to those edges. Now I'm going to go ahead and fuse those edges together, leaving the bottom part untouched because I need an area for my paper clip to go through. Once I'm done with that, I will pull it off from the leftover plastic and then cut the bottom part where I left the gap. And then from there I will then check the corners, because sometimes the corners, even though I sealed it by going around it, sometimes it doesn't seal it. So I will go ahead and check the corners, and then I'll just pass my fuse tool's edge around it just to kind of melt those edges pretty lightly. That way I have a little bit of a seal, because if you do this for too long, you can burn it and then it becomes really ugly and then you have to redo it again. So that's all I did. So I'm going to start by putting some sequins inside the egg, and I decided to go with these little flowers, and I felt like the egg itself had like a shape of a flower, so I thought that these were a perfect little match to go and put in there. So I put 5 on each side, and then once I was ready, I will start putting in my paper clip. So off camera, I had checked the opening where the paper clip goes in, and that's when I realized it wasn't opened. So I opened it off camera. But now, as you can see, I used my glue stick and just, rub the edge of the paper clip all around it, getting some of that glue all over that, and popped it into the paper. So this is my first time doing that, so I'm going to see how it works. If it doesn't work next time, I won't do that. Now I'm going to use my paint and go all around the edges, and I really like doing this. I feel like this actually covers up anything that doesn't look right when you melt the edges. Sometimes you have these really rough edges, so by covering it up with paint, it actually makes not only the paper clip look cute, but also covering up those edges that you might not want to see. And I'm also going to put a little bit of a dab in between where the paper clip is, just because I don't want those sequences to come out later on as I use it in my planner. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to leave it to dry for 30 minutes, and then I'll be ready to use in my planner. So here's the final look to putting together the calendar divider and the paper clip, and I really love the way it came out. It's so cute. I did get a little crazy with the glitter here, but you know what? It still works because I could just shake it around, and also I could still see the calendar. So that's really what matters to me, that I could still be able to see that, and his face too, because you've got to see the face. And then for the paper clip, it's so cute. Oh my goodness. The double-sided always works for me. So I hope you guys enjoy watching me put this one together. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next month for the new calendar divider for June.